Hi everybody, I'm Allie and welcome to Power Poppy. And today for Inspire Me Monday, we're going to be doing a little bit of creating a scene with multiple stamps and using some Brusho, which is a pigment watercolor ink, and we'll get to that in a second, and some Prismacolor colored pencil. Let's get started. So first things first, what we're going to do is we're going to use our VersaFine ink, and we're going to be using two stamp sets today. We have the amazing Cozy Cupfuls. This is actually from our holiday line, and another holiday stamp set, believe it or not, Reeves Plain and Fancy, and we're going to be using this image here. I mean, really, you could pull that off all year round, couldn't you? All right. So we're going to put those aside. I'm going to use my Versamark, and we've got our wreath all ready here on our acrylic block. And we're going to add a nice amount of ink here. And I'm just trying to figure out what corner I want to put my bow in. I think we'll do it this way. There we go. Nice crisp image. This ink is amazing for using with your water-based inks. So in our Cozy Cupfuls, we're actually going to be using the image with the two cardinals. But instead of stamping it on the actual card, I'm going to cut them out. So I have a scrap piece of watercolor paper, and we're actually going to stamp them onto this scrap piece because we can. All right, my cardinal will only fit on this one corner here. That's the male. And we'll stamp the female off to the side here, because we're actually going to, I'm going to leave the sprig in her mouth, so there we go. And I'm just going to set those off to the side to dry. Next, we're going to be working with our Brusho. I'm actually going to put my pencil crayons off to the side here so they're out of our way. And I'll talk a little bit about Brusho here for a second. So this particular package has 24. I don't have all of my bottles in this particular box. The containers are, and I didn't remove the lid. This is how it locks, and it actually peels off so that you can open them. But because I only use a sprinkle at a time, I've taken a paper piercer and then a tack, and I actually have a little tiny hole in the top of the lid. So you can sprinkle it out just like a salt and pepper shaker. And these papers basically are the colors that are within those containers. So right here I have a wide variety of yellows and oranges and reds and blues and greens. But I think we're going to use, let's see, what's the name of this one? We've got OST Blue, and I might brighten it up a little bit with the turquoise. So we're going to use those two. Brusho is basically a watercolor pigment that is dried and flaked so that it becomes a powder-like substance. I mean, typically you would get a watercolor either in a wet format that you might squeeze out of a tube, or you might get a dry cake, which you would add your water to and activate and pull all the pigments and then apply it to your project. But this is a little bit different because you can do some pretty cool effects with this. So what I think we'll do is we'll start with our turquoise, which is our lighter one. All right, so I've filled my water brush here. This one has a really nice fine tip, which I really, really like. It means I can get into the finer detailed areas. Now, the secret to Brusho is, because this is a powder, you can blow it off just like you would with excess embossing powder. But with this stuff, wherever you touch water to your paper, that's where your Brusho is going to stick. So wherever you apply water, let's see if I can get my water brush to, there we go. So wherever you put that water, that powder is going to stick. So you can be precise as you want. Depends on where you want to put it, and where you want powder and where you don't want powder. And of course, I have stamped my image today on Canson watercolor paper. And we're going to see how this goes. Now, obviously, it is very dry here today because the water is seriously soaking into my paper quite quickly here. Let's put be a little bit more generous here. There we go. That's a little better. And again, you can push the color around with your brush once it's on your paper too. So, okay. All right, are you ready for the magic? Okay, so this is our turquoise color. Remember how I said you just sprinkle it on? Okay, so wherever it's wet, that's where that little balls or pieces of powder are going to stick. Okay, so now you could leave it like this. See where I haven't touched it with the water down here? These are all still dry. Okay, going a little bit closer here. I do have a few specks down here, but because it's not wet, they're not going to activate, or they're the pigments. I can just blow them off with a quick huff. There we go. So I think what we'll do is we'll play around with color here, and we'll maybe smoosh things in and blend them a little bit more. Now, I wasn't expecting my color to be quite so vivid, and I thought it probably could have been lighter with the amount of crystals I put down. But you know what? The art is all about experimenting and seeing what happens, and half the time, you know what, I really like the projects that come out of my experimenting with water or ink or splatter or whatever medium I'm playing with. So what I think we'll do, I think I'll just soften up the edge here. I think what I'll do is maybe just rinse my tip here in my excess water, and I think I'm going to actually blot. So I can pick up some color with my paper towel, using a new surface every time I blot. Very cool. And there are still some quite concentrated colors, spots, and you can just re-wet them and dab them again. And that'll just activate that pigment, and you can take your paper towel to those spots if you don't want them as dark, like such. Reactivate a few of those crystals in the center there, maybe a few along the edge. There we go. I'm going to actually finish up. I don't think we'll use our other color because we got a fair variance of color within that. Some lights and some darks. The thing with the pigments is they're made up of different pigments. So some of them are really kind of cool when you sprinkle them on, because a green one could have blue flecks and yellow flecks, and it's amazing the effects you can get using the Brusho. So I think we'll leave it at that. And then I'm going to work on using our Prismacolor pencils, and we'll color the wreath first. I always like to have a little piece of paper to color on first to see what the true color is on my paper. So we'll start there. I think I'll start with my lightest green. I'm going to use the apple green. I'm going to leave it at that. I may come back and do the berries. Haven't decided 100% yet. I'm going to go and work on my birdie. Right, there we go. I'm going to fussy cut these out, and then we're going to do a little bit more on the card front. See you in a minute. Alright, so I have my two little cardinals all cut out. My male and my female. And I think I'm going to do probable placement right at this very moment is approximately, I don't know, somewhere around there and somewhere around there. I am going to now go in and finish off the berries. I've decided that I'm going to do bright red berries and a pinkier tone closer to my female for the ribbon. And that's how I'm going to tie everything together. So I'll continue to color and I'll be right back. So adhering our little cardinals, I'm going to use some multi-medium matte just in case it seeps under our smaller pieces. This stuff doesn't dry with a gloss, so you can't see it. And because we have used water on our paper is warped, but I plan for that, and that's where you use a lot of adhesive on the back and we get it all down and secure on our card base. So I will be right back with our final card. So here's our final card using a couple of different coloring mediums. I hope you join in with my challenge this month and give some of those not so loved coloring mediums a try. Thanks for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. See you later.